What up, what up, what up? What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Smooth Order here with Negroes with a Podcast, NWAP Season 5, Episode 2. I am the host and moderator.
Tunde, Talk 7.
Lextopia here.
Tunde, you want to try that again? You came in a little weak.
My bad, I was fixing that.
No enthusiasm.
I was fixing my headphone, my bad.
He was like, Tunde.
hey everyone, my name is Tunde.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Hi, everybody. We back. We here. We know that we actually haven't put this episode out yet. So we're still actually in the pre-recording phase where we get all these episodes ready so that we can keep going from week to week. And we've seen that people have been commenting and looking for us and wondering where we are. Lex posted
so much shade. I can't even live life. Like
right. Lex tweeted about drinking some champagne and somebody said, must be nice to be on podcast break drinking champagne.
Right.
So we know that y'all was waiting, and we know that you well, if you're listening to this, that means you're not waiting anymore. But we sorry to make the wait so long. So today we're gonna talk about breakups, nigga.
Ooh, something we love.
They're amazing.
Breakups are amazing.
They're incredible opportunities to grow.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know that's how we were starting.
We're coming at this positively.
Oh, we're coming at the breakups positively now.
Positively.
So breakups are generally thought of as a bad thing, but they are a good time for self-reflection, for self-awareness, a recalibration of focusing on the things that are important to you, and a great opportunity for you to prioritize how to fix your fucking life with no Iyanla help.
That was an incredible introduction to this topic.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I made that all up by myself.
You're so good at that. God, somebody really should be paying you to just speak.
Yeah, they actually should. Maybe we'll work on that for 2019. Get me some paid opportunities to talk to people. All right, so here's how we're going to start off. We have a whole list of breakup topics for you guys, but we're going and gals, and for those who don't identify or who choose their own identities. Trying to be all inclusive here. So we're going to start with something very simple and I guess kind of light. What is the best breakup that you've ever had?
What is
it doesn't have to, and it doesn't have to be, it don't have to be like it could be, a romantic partner that you were not committed to. It could be a romantic partner that you were committed to. It could be a non-romantic partner that you were not committed to, but you guys had an understanding. It could be a situationship where you had another sort of understanding.
But what do you mean by best?
Best by the most.
You dealt with it well?
However you want to define as best. Either you guys broke up well and it wasn't a big deal. The breakup was the best thing that happened for you at the time, or it made you realize something. Or you guys had a mutual breakup and you guys became great friends afterwards. However you want to define a good separation from somebody where the nature of your relationship changed in some way.
Okay.
Lex, since you answered, we're going to start with you.
It has not. So
no,
I wouldn't say I've had 4 official relationships where we had that discussion. We were really together and exclusive. And I would not say that any one was a good breakup, and that they all ended on some kind of bad terms. Definitely opportunity for me to grow and take responsibility for my bullshit and grow as a person, I would say.
Okay, so do this. What breakup did you have where you felt like you came away and you made the most progress in yourself or whatever it was that you were trying to do? It will make that your best.
Definitely. Breakup. Okay. Definitely. My third relationship, the one where I was out of school. I was in grad school. We were together, and how
long were you guys together?
I want to say maybe we started kind of dating when I moved to DC. So maybe around 2010ish, we were talking and stuff. And I think maybe we were probably really together by 11, but I want to say we broke up maybe around 14. I've never had a relationship longer than 2 years, which I thought was a curse, but damn, this last one was actually the exact same thing. So But from that one though, man, I was super like trying to force some shit that wasn't good. And I was dealing with somebody who was also a lot younger than me. So that really made me look at my own BS about Lex. Like you're just dealing with people who are younger and who are, you know, still trying to get themselves together because it makes you feel more together. So I kind of dealt with that. And for a while, like I'm really good at not just jumping back in the pool. Like I was chilling for a long time. And I really took that opportunity to start doing way more self-awareness and, you know, kind of look at myself so that my next relationships were a little smarter, which it was. Still not awesome, but it was better. So we're getting there.
Awesome,
The
but
next one probably might be the key.
okay.
But
Tunde?
before that, though, like
No, go ahead.
I'm so sorry.
No.
I was
Go
gonna
ahead. Go
say,
ahead.
like
I thought
that's
you was
kind of
done.
maybe the only one I can even use because the one before that was I cheated on them with this third guy, and then
Okay,
my
so that's
last one was like
worse.
ghosting. So like we didn't really break up. So like everything else is just stupid.
So technically, y'all still together because technically y'all didn't break up.
No, which one?
So you had a boyfriend this whole time, nigga. What the fuck?
This year?
No, I'm saying you saying that you guys didn't. You got ghosted. So I said technically y'all didn't break up if you just got ghosted. So technically you've been in a relationship this whole
If you
time.
pop up with pictures with another person, then we're not together. Like, what do you mean? If I haven't heard from you in months, we're not together.
I don't know if that's the rule. I don't think that's the rule.
I feel like that's how guys think too, which sucks.
I don't think that's the rule. I feel like until we had a conversation about
their little things where they try to throw the string in front to see if I was going to catch it. I'm just super over it. I'm sure we'll talk about like aftermath and going back and all that, but yeah, I didn't fall for any of that, so it's a wrap.
That's real. Tunde, worst, best breakup. We didn't get to the worst part yet.
Let's see. So while Lex was talking, I was trying to count my official relationships. And
yeah, so Lex, you said you have 4, right? Like 4 official, like you are my boyfriend.
Yeah, my first one I was a junior in college. Then it was right after college. Transitioned right into a grad school one. Then I had a little break for a while. And then this one was like we dated for a couple years, but really wasn't super official till like this year for like a couple months.
Gotcha. Tunde, how many relationships have you been in, and then your best breakup?
Like Lex, my first one was my junior year of college. So 6 official. None of mine was okay. He said you gave me the parameters at the beginning.
Yeah, when I say best, I don't necessarily mean like it doesn't mean the breakup was the best. Like you guys had a
yeah.
I'm just saying like in terms of how it might have affected your life later, or how it might have, if it would have your trajectory, so to speak. Like
I'm gonna go another way with this. So, I'm not gonna count any of my adult relationships. So when I was in middle school, right?
Oh gosh.
No, man, those are formative. Those are your formative years.
When I was in middle school, I had a crush on this girl from the 3rd grade until 9th grade, right? She stayed in my neighborhood, and she knew I liked her. She strung me along, and then like we finally dated for a little bit, and then she played the shit out of me one day for this dude named Steven. And she told everyone in class that I couldn't afford her, whatever that meant, as an 8th grader.
Damn, in middle school?
Yeah.
It's rough, man.
Jeez, it's hard out here for y'all.
So, like, it wasn't like I had a job or
high school joint. Dang.
Exactly. So then,
that school joint said you was broke as fuck.
Yes, I hated her from that to that point forward, right? So, like,
as you should.
Like a couple years ago, I went ahead and like, I wonder what this person's up to. So, like, I did an internet search for her.
Broke as fuck.
Damn, she weighs a lot. I'm not gonna say she weighs a lot. She weighs a lot.
For so long, I was like, I think we should try to figure out what he's gonna say.
He was froze. I was like, oh shoot, how you freeze the good
she
part?
weighs a lot more than I do, and I'm about 200 pounds. So she
are you?
Yeah, she weighs literally like almost 100 pounds more than me, and she's like 5'5". So I think that, that's positive in a way that I dodged the bullet, because she did end up marrying a guy who she played me for. The 8th grader, they got married. So that could have been me.
We always dodge the bullet though. I think with any breakup, like it's not working. So
yeah. So no matter what happens,
there's nowhere for it to go up really. Actually,
well, maybe not always.
But done sold houses and are fucking VPs and shit. And I'm like, damn, where was that when I was there? Yeah, but I'm so good at making people better. I swear to God. It's like I just make everybody. No, I promise I make everybody. And when I thought about it too, I'm like, yo, every guy I've been with started a business. Like I got a lot of stuff going with them. I'm not gonna say for them, but with them, just because that's the kind of person I am. But like I said, I was choosing people that needed development, and the emotional parts weren't there. So it still just doesn't work. You can't just try to force like one part that's good.
Yeah.
But today I was your girl in a situation, but I didn't count that because we were together for like literally 3 days.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that because you was talking about that before the podcast, and that's fucking wild.
Yeah,
that shit that you pulled was some real.
That's why I'm out here now.
Yeah, some real traumatizing shit. I want to say the best breakup that I had. I'm not gonna. Oh wait, let me back up a bit. I've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I say I've had 5 girlfriends since I was 17. Because I had a girlfriend for like a couple months, and then like this 3-year situationship that happened like after that. And then I had like 2 other girlfriends in that time period, which I guess I should count them, but like they don't count. They kind of don't count because they didn't last longer than like a couple of months. So maybe if I don't count them, it's only like 3. Then I was in a relationship. I got in a relationship my senior year, and I dated her up until I went to law school, and I broke up with her when I went to law school because I was like, I'm about to just be a super hoe out here, and you know, I can't be I could be a super hoe while we're in a relationship, but I probably shouldn't do that. And then the last relationship I was in for 4.5, almost 5 years. So I think the best breakup that I had was we actually sat down. Like the breakup kind of, the catalyst for the breakup was actually like an argument. Like we were arguing about something, and the argument kind of got a little out of pocket, and we were just kind of like, all right, well, you know, we're both tired. Like it's been a while. We've been doing this thing for a while. This shit not really working out. Like, let's just not do this anymore. And then it was like we got along fine after that. You know, like we didn't have to, when you don't have to be somebody's like emotional.
Yeah.
I don't even know the word for it. Like you don't have to be somebody's emotional anchor, and they don't have to be like just being in a relationship is like hard. I don't know why I can hear an echo. Do you hear an echo?
No.
Oh yeah. So being in a relationship is hard. And there's a lot of things that come with being in a relationship. I saw this tweet one time that said, people want all of the benefits, but none of the responsibilities of being in love. And I was like, low key, the responsibilities of being in love are kind of trash. Like, it's like, God damn, nigga, you got to be like one person for everything. Like, you have to be that one person's everything, which I have issues with, but we'll discuss that later. But once we broke up, and then we talked about why we broke up and like why the relationship was the way that it was, like we got along fine after that, you know. And I felt like for both of us that was kind of weird that we got along so much better after the breakup. But I also think that that was sort of a testament to where our relationship was and sort of the left turn that it made. Because the thing about I feel about our relationships is, or most relationships that I've been in, is that left turn it's not a sharp turn when it happens. It's always little by little by little, like these little things that keep happening. And then one day you wake up, and it's so weird because, you know, time passes really fast, but like really slow at the same time. So when you're thinking about your relationship, or when I was thinking about my relationship and thinking about, damn, how did we get here? And I reflect back on it, it's like these little things that kept happening over the months. I was like,
you know exactly how you got there.
So I think that was the best breakup that I've ever had. So now we're going to transition to the worst breakups. And since I just talked about the best, I'll talk about the worst. So if you've ever seen me tweet about, I've tweeted about the worst breakup that I've ever had in very vague terms. But I frequently refer to this breakup as girlfriend ground zero. And the reason why I call it that.
You gave it a movie title.
The reason why I call that is because I think that everything everything that I felt about relationships, that I thought about love, that I thought about being with another person changed after her. And I'd probably call my last relationship probably girlfriend ground one, because not everything changes after her, but she wasn't ground zero. So with ground zero, it was an extremely volatile relationship from the outset, because she was verbally abusive. I'm just gonna say that she was verbally abusive, and she was I was a little afraid of her because she was always like, I was 18 and she was 20. So when I was younger, I thought that she knew what she was doing. So more often than not, I would just follow her lead, so to speak. And I didn't realize until later that at 20, you don't really know anything, you know? And I didn't know that she didn't know anything. And I probably would have had a lot more sympathy for her at the time if I knew that she didn't know anything and if she was just making shit up as she went along. But our relationship was very volatile. And like I said, like I dated her. She was like the first girlfriend that I had in college, and we didn't stop talking until like 6 years later, when some real ridiculous shit had happened.
After the breakup, you mean? Like you still talked for?
Yeah, like yeah. So we dated for,
I think, too, a lot of times.
Right. So like we started dating in like 2004, and it was like we were together in May. I think we broke up in like July, like officially, like, okay, this is not working no more, whatever. But we just kept fucking and hanging out and fucking and hanging out and staying over, then beefing, then no longer beefing, and then that shit just,
and you're not even my real girl, and
like that kind of situation. But like, you're not even my real girl, but I'm still answering to you as if you are my real girlfriend, or you're still holding me to the accountability of somebody that you would hold of a boyfriend, while also, you know, out here fucking other people and stuff, but always like in my goddamn phone and shit.
Okay, let it out. Let it out. Let it out.
I mean, I'm not saying that like I'm hurt. I mean, that was basically just like it's kind of like the situation. So, but like when we broke up, when we were going through like some of our worst breakups and shit like that, or whatever breakups, and by breakups I mean like we weren't fucking with each other no more, I would cry like for days, nigga. Like one time we broke up, I was in a barbershop getting a haircut, crying, just super fucking emotional. Like I couldn't do nothing. I didn't want to go nowhere. Like that's where I got my smoking habit from. I didn't really smoke like that until I dated her ass.
Oh man.
You know what I'm saying? Just fucking awful. Just awful. Like I feel like I went through I refer to her as a dark cloud in my life that lasted 6 years. So that's the worst breakup.
A dark cloud that you allowed to be in your life.
Absolutely.
Let's be sure we take responsibility.
I am taking responsibility.
I know you are.
I'm responsible.
That's something we all gotta.
Yeah, like I mean, I gave her. She didn't have any. And this is something that I talk about in therapy. I don't have really good boundaries with women that I love and I'm in a relationship with. I'm sort of like, I just kind of let anything happen. Well, at the time, I just kind of let anything happen. So, you know, she took full advantage of anything happening, and she used to be wilding the fuck out because she knew that, you know, she wasn't ever going to have to answer for none of the shit that she was doing, because I wasn't going to say nothing. I wasn't going to say nothing, quote unquote, but I wasn't going to do anything about the way that she was acting, because I partially felt like it was my fault that she was acting like that. So,
Wow, we're such adults now.
Niggas old as fuck, man.
But again, hindsight is 2020, and I feel like it's easy for us to have these conversations and take responsibility, and this is what happened afterwards. But still, like if you were to be like in love tomorrow, it's like, why is it that sometimes some of this stuff just goes out the window, out of your brain, and you still just let yourself like F up?
Creatures of habit, man. We just keep doing the same shit.
And it gets a little better every time, but it's like, those things are still there, you know, some of them.
Because it requires work. It requires a conscious effort on your behalf to realize, hey, I'm falling into this pattern.
Yeah.
Let me not do the same thing. Man, I'm trying to tell you, therapy is like the best thing ever, because that's where I get all this shit from.
Because you can really have like a good conversation about this shit. I love it.
I love it too. Tunde, worst breakup.
Let's see. So I actually wrote about this. I wrote a 6-part blog series about this shit. Like,
Jesus Christ.
Wait, what? Where
So,
is that still open? Where
G
is
got
that?
a movie title. This
yeah, it's
boy
on my
got a
old blog.
6-part series.
It's like I wrote like literally like almost 20,000 words on this shit.
Oh my
Yeah, you gotta send me the
gosh.
link. I'm reading that shit this weekend. Nigga, you gotta send me the link for that.
We got to turn that into a
Yeah.
Netflix series.
So this is my girlfriend in grad school. And
Oh, you told us about that on the podcast before.
yeah,
Mhm.
so like my I guess breaking point or like if I gotta leave you is you putting your hands on me. So like not even infidelity because like shit happens whatever. That's not like I won't like definitely like say this shit is over depending on the circumstances, right? So every person I date knows this coming in like into the shit. Like when I grew up, I grew up in a household with domestic violence, both ways. So that's something I don't tolerate in my relationships.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
man, I didn't know that.
so so this girlfriend in particular knew that, and like when we broke up, it's when she put her hands on me in front of like damn near our whole school.
Mm-mm.
And this was like at a party and whatever. So that was like the end. But it's like a lot of shit like Garfield said, like, it's never just one thing. It's shit that builds up. So that was my first relationship where like I was in one that was super volatile and super emotional. Like there was a lot of infidelity, or suspected infidelity. I won't say infidelity because I don't have definite proof. Lots of mistrust. But yeah, she put her hands on me, and I was just like, you know what, fuck this shit. If anyone wants to read it, I guess I can link the post to the whatever when we put this episode out. I could put the link to it on the website. But yeah, she put her hands on me, and I would never ever put her hands on a woman. But like, she didn't know that. Like, if I'm drunk, like you don't know what my reaction would have been. So imagine if like I'm drunk and I don't know, like I'm out of my right mind and I just like push her down or something, then I'm looked at as, around school as the guy who hit
The
the
nigga
woman.
who's beating his girl at the
Exactly,
party.
right? Exactly, right? No one's gonna say she slapped him first or she punched him first.
They gonna be like, nigga, you 6'4". You can eat that.
Exactly.
That's
So
what getting slapped is fun.
yeah, so so that was the end of our relationship. And yeah, so that was that.
Lex?
Worst breakup?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say it's the one that was the grad school and after grad school. Maybe worst as in...
However you want to define worst.
Worst for me because it was the one that lingered the longest in that weird, why am I still entertained? Yeah, it was stupid. And the problems were, and it was bad. Like I don't want to say the craziest I've ever been because I'm not that person, but like I broke a wine bottle and put it under his tires. Like that's not that bad. But it was one of those.
Wait a minute. You mean it's not that bad?
That's not that bad. That's
technically, it's not that bad. I mean,
not
she
that
didn't.
bad. I just as I left, like I just left it there. I was like, if he don't see it, whatever. But he definitely saw it. He definitely called me the next day. But that was one of those like when you get stuck in that pattern of like looking all in their phone and looking through their stuff and totally don't trust them and being gaslighted but at the same time not just walking away, like feeling too invested and just still going in this stupid cycle over and over and over. So that one took a while. But what happens with me and what happened at some point, maybe it was like at least a year of that shit. But what happens is like in my brain, something always just snaps. Like when I'm really over it, it snaps off. And then I'm completely like, since then, now we're kind of like cool. Like if I go back home or back to where I lived in DC, I can hang out with him. I could stay at his crib if I wanted to. I remember the first times I ever came back and visited, he was like, dang, you're just like not attracted to me. And I was like, yeah, I'm just like, I really don't want to do anything. You can kind of go back sometimes and do whatever. Like when I'm done, I'm like, I don't even really see you like that anymore. So, but it was really, really bad, like mentally, I believe at that point. And I don't know, just trying to make something work with somebody who acts like they want it to work, but then you're seeing all these other things happening was pretty pretty whack. And so this time when it happens, it was way easier. And it's like, all right, let things happen. That's what happened. Cool, I'm out.
All right. So I want to talk about, I mean, I had another question after this, but I'm going to move this one up because we talked, you and Tunde kind of mentioned, and I think I mentioned it earlier too, this idea of backtracking to the person that you broke up with.
It's easy.
So I'm not going to try to, well, I can't speak on everybody, but why do you guys feel like you backtracked with somebody that you probably, I mean, obviously that you probably shouldn't have done?
Because you're
like
comfortable, why? Because you know what it is.
No, I mean, I need something specific. Like, I know why, you know, people do. I mean,
definitely wasn't the sex.
I mean, people are creatures of habit. You get used to doing something.
Sex.
For you, it was the sex.
Yeah.
I mean,
this nigga's raising his hand and shit. Like for me, it was a sex.
I mean, like if the sex is like really, really good, and like you know that you have access to it, you know, the flesh is weak. So,
but the mind is strong.
Yeah, all right.
Or not.
Yeah, I don't think that's ever why I backtracked.
Why'd you backtrack if it wasn't?
I never backtracked the first couple. That third one, I feel like the more mental anguish, the more you like drag stuff on. It wasn't the sex because he was a downgrade in that, but he was.
Oh, yeah, man.
He does. But what was it? I knew his whole family. Like we were like really deep in there, you know. And that's I think what kind of makes it weird. It's like you're friends with everybody, you're all cool, and just the comfort of knowing them and knowing what's going on, knowing their whole life, feeling like, dang, you know how you feel like you've gone so far. It's like, dang, like I can't just like completely drop off. But at the same time, all you need is a little time, and you realize like, okay, there's so many other people, and there's so many new opportunities for you. With my recent one, I never backtracked since I got ghosted, but while we were having our issues before we were even like super together, but like having all these back and forth issues where we should have been apart a long time ago. That could have been sex / he's just like really cool as hell. So, I mean, everything else was just good minus, you know, those few big issues.
Right. Yeah.
I'm good at like no, man. It's too many people out here.
Yeah, I feel like the two times that I backtracked, I think the two times that I backtracked, it was like the first time that I did it was because I wasn't over it. Like we broke up, like she broke up with me, and I was still very much emotionally attached, emotionally invested in her. And I kind of felt like even when we broke up, I was like, I don't understand. I was really young. I was like, I don't understand why we're breaking up, and I don't understand why we can't just be together and why love isn't enough. 18 years old, asking why love isn't enough. Fresh 18, asking why love isn't enough. I don't think I was even 6 months into 18 when I was acting. I was watching.
The high school stuff is the worst, man. You really feel like that's the end of the world.
No, I was in college when I was 18.
Oh.
Yeah, I was
But that's still age. I think that 16 to 18 love is like, that's rough.
Yeah, man. That's like Romeo and Juliet killed each other, man. Niggas is 12 and 13. You don't know what the fuck you got going on in your life.
I'm so glad I didn't have relationships right at that time in my life.
No, I think, you know what I'm saying?
I was like faking love, but I didn't do anything physically or have like a real relationship till after college.
Yeah. I think my thing was, I don't know how to say this without sounding like an asshole. So I think I'm just going to say it. Like, I don't make a lot of real connections with women like
that are deep.
Right. Like, you know, like I'm cool. Like I'm cool with people, you know what I'm saying? Like there is a form of relationship. There might be a form of relationship there. Like there might be, you know, some feelings or whatever like that. But I'm real, when it comes to people in general, I'm kind of like, I can kind of take or leave most people, which is why I don't have a lot of friends. And the friends that I do have are people that I've known for a decade plus. I'm not somebody that doesn't make friends easily, but I have a very, very particular sort of way that I size people up that doesn't always allow for me to connect with them in a way that other people might connect with them. I'm not saying it's something that they've done, something that I've done. So like once I like you, like that's like a real big problem for me. Cause like once I like you, I like you.
You're in there. Oh,
yeah, like once I'm in there, I'm in there. Like in my last relationship, me and my ex were talking for I want to say like 4 to 6 months. And the reason why it even lasted that long is because I wasn't actually sure if I was going to stay in DC at the time that I was there. Like I was thinking about moving back home, but I decided that I was going to stay in there and I was going to try to make it work with her or whatever. And she'd actually gotten like sick. And when I say sick, I don't mean like flu sick. I mean like we don't know if she's going to make it, if she's going to live through the summer kind of sick. And we'd only been together at that time for like 2 months. But I liked her. So
you think when bad things happen, it makes it made y'all more connected in a way to where you felt like
no. I mean, because I didn't, you know, I made that's a conscious decision that I made on my part that I wasn't going to treat her or treat the relationship any differently because she got sick. Yes, she might have needed more assistance and more help with doing things. You know, she needed she had to be more of a caretaker in that respect. But I was like, I'm not going to base our relationship off the fact that she got sick while we were in it. Because at the time that she
you're not going to just feel stuck because of
right.
Okay.
But I didn't feel stuck. Like I liked her so much before that when she got sick, like it wasn't even a second thought for me to be like, I'm going to take care of her until she gets better. Like my mom was like, are you okay? And her parents would be like, are you okay? And she used to be like, are you okay? I was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like there's nothing in the world that I'd rather be doing than helping you get back, you know, helping you get back to on your feet or whatever.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Right, I know. Every once in a while, like I have a moment, right? Every once in a while I have a moment. What?
Are you single now?
I'm single. I mean, we broke up. Me and my ex broke up last year. And I've been single since then. And I've kind of really just been chilling. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of things in that relationship that I realized about myself that I needed to work on, which is why I've been in therapy since April. And you will hear me continue to talk about therapy throughout this season. And we're probably going to have a couple episodes based on going to therapy because I think that shit is incredible. But yeah, but like, so I said all that to say, like, once I like you, I like you. So backtracking then becomes a very easy trap for me to fall into because, like I said, like I don't make those kind of connections with people like that. And it's harder for me with women. Not hard to make connections with women, but hard for me to feel like I'm about to ride out with you. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not an easy thing for me to sort of come to the conclusion about. So I think I always end up backtracking. I mean, occasionally it is the sex. But it's also like it's really hard for me to cut emotional ties with people like once I'm already in it because I don't have a lot of emotion and emotional energy to invest in people. So like when I invest it, like I'm like, not that I want to return on it, but
that's a good way to say that.
I just, you know, that I end up keep nurturing. And then, you know, like I'm creatures of habit, man. You've been doing the same thing for X amount of days, you know, months, consecutive months, years or whatever like that. It's like I feel a physical absence in my life when I'm no longer doing that thing. So that's how I end up backtracking and shit.
Date me.
Your face is so funny.
You don't think you could? Oh, look, I'm typing smooth in my phone instead of my client that I'm supposed to be typing to.
Trying to holler at my brother. So
you know, I feel so bad because I texted him for a date. He said one thing that was so weird that in my brain snapped up. Like how I said, it just snapped off, and I was like, "Oh, like never mind." He's like 20 years younger than me. Like,
yeah, I was trying to explain it to you.
He said something that was so young, and I was like, "Oh."
Yeah, he was 20. I think he was 24. I think it was like 3 years ago, like 3 or 4 years. And I was like, "Yeah, your brother is cute," and I was like, "My brother's a little different."
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Like, he's fine though. I'm like, that nigga's a little different. And then he found out, and I was like, "See, you don't never listen to me. I be trying to protect you from yourself."
But it's not like that was some serious thing. I like flirting with people, but I know what's a terrible decision. Well, maybe I don't know what's terrible. I know what I like to look at.
Like, yeah, I know. Maybe I don't know that's a terrible decision.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So that was backtracking. We did backtracking. All right, so let's switch gears a little bit. So signs that you know a breakup is coming, or signs that you've given someone to let them know, hey, I'm about to put your ass out. Lex, I feel like you're an expert at this.
Not really.
You be ghosting niggas. You be kicking niggas to the curb. Like, what's one of the signs that you saw in one of your relationships? You saw what?
I say, yeah, that sucks because I didn't really ever think that much about how I've broken up with people until just now.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, because well, I don't know what happened with the first guy really. With the second guy, like I said, that was in North Carolina. When I moved to DC, I had already been talking to somebody else in DC area, or well, up north. And literally I moved to DC. He drove me up there, helped me move in, and that night I drove to Pennsylvania to see the other guy.
Oh.
Who was and it was downhill ever from there. And then it was easy because I tended to use circumstantial stuff like, you know what, I don't think this is really gonna work because I'm in DC and you're there. And that was what happened. So that kind of made it easy. I felt bad because years later, seeing him or talking to him, he'd be like, you know, I wish I knew what I did and how I pushed you away or whatever. And I had to tell him like it literally was not you. Like one day it just snapped off where I was not really attracted. And I guess at that time I started talking to other people too. And it just turned off. Like it wasn't him doing anything. And I didn't realize he thought it was him that whole time. So that was not a good way to do that. And then the next one, it was pretty rough, but I moved from the whole DC area just to get away from that web of people. And then the next one left me. So I don't know how to break up with people. Like I said, the one guy I was technically with for 3 days. I just called him and was like, yeah, this ain't gonna work after I avoided him for the whole 3 days. So he was at Taco Bell with his friends. So, but that was high school.
I feel like there's, you know, I've struggled with this before. Like, how do you tell somebody, like, I know that you really like me and stuff, but I actually don't feel the same way about you? And
that's hard.
We should
because
know
people will still entertain you, and I noticed that too. The same way where I could be mad at a guy because I'm like, we're not really doing anything. Like, what are we doing? But you're still entertaining me. If I look at myself, like I can do the same thing with certain people where I know I can not answer you today. I can hit you back in 3 weeks, but I know you're gonna say something.
Right.
And it's kind of fucked up, but it's like, is that my problem or is that your problem? Because you're still answering, and I can still be cool with you. It doesn't mean I don't like them though. Like,
right.
I don't want to be in a relationship with them, but it's like I do want to be cool. Like we can hang out and stuff or talk. But when you know people like you, I mean, I don't know how you're supposed to find the one where anyone will come with you anyway. Like, it's just hard.
Tunde.
I think for me, a really good sign is, so I do a lot, right? Like I run a lot. I'm always in the gym. I work, well, not right now, but I work. I do whatever, right? So like my time, like when I'm just chilling, is limited. So if I find an excuse not to want to hang with you,
oh, this is triggering to me.
Then that's a sign. Or I find myself like, damn, I really don't want to be here.
Yeah, that's bad.
Like, okay, so
wait, so we're saying signs that you're over it?
You know what?
Yeah, I'm over it. I'm over it. Yeah.
You know what? That's what I should have. And I was actually thinking that when Tunde said that. I'm going to rephrase that. And Lex, if you want to jump back in, like, when did you feel like I don't want to be this person? I should have. Did y'all catch that? Because I feel like the screen just froze.
Yeah, it froze a little bit, but you asked, how do we tell when we're over it?
When I say the signs, when I mean I should have elaborated on that. When I said signs, I mean signs for you that you knew that, okay, I don't want to be with this person anymore. They just said when he trying to hang out with your ass no more.
Yeah, basically.
That's hard.
And also I don't want to have sex with you anymore.
Ooh, never had that one.
Oh, nice. Oh.
Yeah.
Signs. It's just like how Tot 7 said. It's when you're with somebody. For me, like I said, it'll click off. I'll be sitting in front of somebody. All of a sudden, I'm like, "Damn, you're corny as hell," or "Damn, you're kind of ugly," or it really. All of a sudden, it's like my common sense just like kicks in. It's like, "Damn, you're whack," or like, "I don't want to be here right now," and that's kind of when you know. But that's more so like dating more than like we're really in a relationship. Like if I got to that point, or at least now, if I'm at that point, like I'm like all in, kind of like how G said earlier, like, you know, like I'm about this, like I see a future. So to that, you know, the last relationship that I was in, that I was trying to take really seriously and really more analyzing myself and taking responsibility for stuff, trying to be a better person, blah, 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 trying to only worry about myself and let them do what they do. And it didn't work out. So I didn't want to break up necessarily.
Yeah. That's I think what Tune said was a really good one where you like, dog, like I'm not even really trying to spend no extra time with you
It feels
because
like a waste of time all of a sudden.
it feels like a burden
Yeah.
almost where it's like I have time to do I'm so used to I'm so busy doing all these other things and now I finally have time to myself and I'd rather just stay by myself other than be bothered with company.
Yeah. Dang.
That's pretty fucking pretty
Pretty
fucking
clear cut there.
yeah, man. I don't know if it gets any more clear cut than that. I think I mean I feel the same way, but I think something even earlier than that is when I am no longer interested in hearing what you have to say about anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like when the very thought of talking to you makes me feel like, God, I really wish I didn't have to. I feel like that's one of my signs because I love to talk to people, which is probably how we ended up on this podcast in the first fucking place. You know, like I know people, you know, we text, we G chat, you know, blah blah, whatever, but like I really enjoy well, I was gonna say physically talking to people, but I guess that's what we're calling it now. Like a conversation in which
Face to
words
face.
are exchanged via mouth. I really
Mhm.
enjoy talking to people. And I enjoy the banter that comes with talking to
Mhm.
people.
And
I
when you
enjoy the
find people who are smart, really can have good conversations with you and stimulate, you know, a good conversation, like that really is like exciting. That's fun.
right. Cause I'm like wild corny and I don't know why I have so many random pop culture and rap lyrics in my head that I break out in the most
Hmm.
random parts of the conversation. But like when people catch those, it makes my fucking heart fill with joy. And like when I don't
Oh,
want to share that with you anymore, like nigga, it's yeah, it's about to be curtain time. Yeah, it's about to be curtain time.
oh.
Or like if I see you call me and I'm just like,
God, y'all are hurting my feelings. I feel like it's happening to me.
when I start doing shit like that, I'm like,
Niggas
yeah,
just start
fam.
getting distant on you.
Well, I mean, I try to do my best.
Mhm.
I tried to do my best in the past. Like I always say that I don't think people owe you an explanation for why they don't want to talk to you anymore, but I at least try to foster one or
Yeah,
give a
that's a
reason
kind of
for
a weird
something.
thing too. Yeah,
But like, yeah, like I don't even really know. And that's actually like
that's how you can
the
tell
last
when
podcast.
somebody's trying to break up with you.
Right.
But what gets confusing then, like for me, is consistently hearing the no, it's not that, or I love you, or all these things while you're seeing that kind of activity, or it seems like, all right, but I haven't heard from you in a few days, so like that's weird. But no, like you're coming up with stuff. And so it's
Yeah.
like I end up trying to justify like, okay, maybe that's just how you are.
Their absence, right.
Yeah, and you get, and I that is one thing I really learned. People do deal with things differently, especially guys. Like, you know, whereas a woman, or maybe just as me, let me not speak for women. When you're going through something or something's going on, you want to talk about it. You want to work with it together. Sometimes as a guy, it's like, listen, you gotta let me deal with this, and you know, I'll be back when I figure it out or whatever. But at the same time, it's like that's kind of whack.
You know what? That's actually really interesting that you brought that up because I used to be one of those people
Exactly. I think
who
that's a
would
part of
just
a phase
dissipate.
that's you're not fully emotionally grown, but you
Yeah,
really don't want to
that
depend on people.
that absolutely. And I actually this has actually been like a lifelong issue for me because of I remember when I was in undergrad, I was working on some project or something that somebody was helping me with, and this dude that I used to, you know, he was like one of my mentors. He was really cool. We was walking on campus or whatever, and he was like, you know, gee, he's like, you're gonna realize one day that like you're gonna need people's help
Mm-hmm.
and you're not gonna be able to do everything by yourself, and that it doesn't make you a weak person to need the
Mm-hmm.
assistance or help of somebody else. And I was like, Willie, what the fuck are you talking about? Right? Because
And
I was,
sometimes you don't even really need help, but it's good to like get things
right.
out of your own mind.
Right. So when I would deal with women later in my life, and I felt like you know I was going through something or whatever, like I'd say everything was okay or everything was fine, but everything really wasn't fine or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned later that like that is not how to go about doing. I mean, I even did this in my last relationship, which actually caused it used to drive my ex-girlfriend crazy. Is that I just always like I don't even say emotionally, like I just shut down. Like everything just becomes about whatever that problem is. And I had to learn that like just telling somebody, yo, I'm going through this, this shit is happening right here. Shit is not okay. Like I'm not fine. I'm not cool. I'm stressed about this. I'm stressed about that. Like I just need 24 hours of just, or 48 hours or 72 hours of just like, I just need you to give me a little bit of space. Like I'm gonna text you, you know what I'm saying? I'll let you know I'm okay.
Hard. That could be hard on the other side.
You know what I'm saying? We'll catch up at the end of the day, like when I'm feeling up for like a few minutes or whatever, just so you know that it's not, it's not like a thing against you, but like
that's what it always was too. Always reminding me, like, don't take this personally. Like, it's not about you. And like you really have to learn that in relationship problems. Like, half the time, it really is not about you. Like, for the most part. Yeah. But you're right. Like when I did start actually acknowledging that, be like, you know what? Every time that person has asked for space, and I gave them their, that 24, 48 hours, they always came back and was like, all right, like everything's cool, But it's weird when they don't communicate and you're just sitting here like, so
let me ask you this.
What's going on?
So
what are you asking?
Either more so you, because I don't think Lex has ever lived.
Because you said, let me ask you this, and then she was done. Sorry, I know you.
I'm sorry.
You good?
I don't think Lex has ever lived with an ex, right? Am I wrong?
No.
Okay. So when you ask for space, right?
Ooh, yeah,
how'd that work when you live with your significant other?
So the good thing about living with my ex was that she had a really good understanding of my personality, and she was really good about letting me have space. And we lived in a 2-bedroom apartment. The last 2 times that we lived, the last 2 apartments that we had when we lived together, we lived in a 2-bedroom apartment, or at least a 1 and a 1.5 or whatever the fuck. It's not really a big deal. So she would ask, or she'd be like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." And she'll come and she'll sit down and she'll watch me play video games and we'll cuddle and stuff like that. But if I wasn't okay, she'd be like, "All right, well, I'm gonna go in the room, or do you want the couch? Do you want the living room TV? Y'all go in the room, or you can go in the room and I'll stay out here or whatever." And she'll give me like a requisite amount of hours for me to be like, cool or whatever. And that was later, because in the beginning, like we hadn't had that understanding. So she would feel like she'd have to tiptoe, and then I would feel like she was bothering me too much, and then like I would want to go somewhere else that wasn't in the house, and she would feel like worried about like me like leaving the house in my mood or whatever like that. So like later we guys got into understanding where it was like, all right, like if you're not okay, let me know so that I can go over here, and then we can reconvene later and you can come back, or whatever. But it wasn't easy
for them to have that.
Yeah, but it wasn't easy.
Yeah,
but it wasn't easy in the beginning. It absolutely was not easy, because I wasn't good at communicating it, and she didn't understand. And
you have to really like care enough to want to, like, I want to understand this person. I want to give them what they need, but you have to trust that like they'll also give you what you need when it's somebody who doesn't communicate well. So
right,
it starts to feel on one side.
Well, honestly, man, I don't even know that I would at my big age. I don't even know if I was talking to a woman who was talking to that version of me and she was asking for my advice, I would tell her to leave that nigga alone.
Yep.
Like that's how differently I feel about how I was carrying that stuff before. I just wasn't carrying it in a healthy way, and it would affect our relationship in a negative way and linger for days, because I brood. I'm a brooder. I'd be sitting in my shit. Like I just be sitting in all those bad emotions, and like that's not a good aura to have when you're living with somebody, and that's not a good aura to have for somebody who loves you and wants to be with you. And then now they feel like they can't do anything around you, or they got tiptoe around you, because at any given moment you might fucking explode.
So knowing that you say you would look back at that and tell that person you'll leave that guy alone, knowing that guy was you, having gone through it though, is that still something you'd rather have gone through to learn from, or do you look back like, yeah, that was completely like not fair to that person?
No, I mean, I don't think those things are opposite ends of the spectrum, right?
Would you have changed regardless, or grown, you think, regardless? Like if more women was like, you know what, you're this type of person, it's not quite healthy, I'm gonna go away. Do you think that guys will grow, or people with communication issues or whatever will grow minus having those
No,
relationships, or that we just have to suffer?
No, not necessarily. I think that well, first, I think the most important thing about growth is, and I guess this is slightly off topic, but we're still talking about relationships, so I guess it's all good. I think no, it's fine. I think the most important thing about growth is a thing that somebody has to want to do for themselves. And growth is not a thing that should have to be acknowledged by somebody other than the person that's doing the growing. I mean,
that's a good point.
When I say that, I mean, if you've actually grown and people can't tell, then maybe you still got some more growing to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But like, your growth shouldn't be dependent on another person acknowledging the fact that you've grown. Like, that's not what growth is for, right? So me being able to recognize the way that I was handling those things was exacerbated to a point because I was in a relationship where somebody was giving me that feedback. And then I've been going to therapy and reflecting on that relationship and other relationships and realizing there's a pattern of behavior here that I have with women, and I don't like that pattern of behavior, and I wish to do something about it. And now that I feel more comfortable expressing, hey, I'm not okay, because that's really what it's about. Like,
I'm so attracted to you right now.
Lexi's just been shooting all podcast.
Yeah, I'm about to shoot my shot after this podcast.
Pulling up from 3.
I'm really about to half court this. Live on the podcast.
I hope I hope y'all watch this podcast so y'all can see my face when this shit happens, because I'm so thrown off.
That's like, he's single now? Oh, I'm pulling up.
Yo, we're the emotionally aware people. That's just the hardest part to me.
Yeah, but I think that but I think that's to answer your question, like, I think it's always about
to go through that bullshit with a lot of people. For them, it seems like they grow after, and it's like,
yeah, but I don't think, the reason why I gave that example about if a woman was talking to me about a person that was like me at that age, why I would tell her to leave, is because I don't think that women have to deal with that. Like, I don't.
No, you're right.
Women,
you're right.
I don't think anybody has to deal with that, and you can't save it. You can't save anybody, let alone everybody. You can't save anybody. So even, and
we deal with that because of our own issues of not feeling enough or whatever. When there's plenty of great people who are, trying to talk to you or available. So
right. And I see a lot of women are always talking about, like, I'm sick and tired of being the mule of dating an emotionally available man and an emotionally unavailable man, and all of a sudden this nigga gets somebody else and he gets married in 3 months because I didn't approve that nigga for this. I was gonna say, for this chick or whatever. But I honestly don't. I mean, I think that
we do that because we're emotionally unavailable, and then you have to deal with that in yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I think women do. I mean, there are societal pressures for women to be in relationships in the way that they're judged as women when they're not in relationships, that would make some women feel like, that would make some women feel like they have to be in a relationship with a dude. But I also feel like, as we get older, like, man, you gotta start making decisions that are in your own best interest. And you feel like dating an emotionally unavailable nigga is not in your best interest, then you shouldn't do that shit. And somebody might make you feel like you have to do that, or they feel like you should do that, but honestly, you don't. Like, you don't have to be the mule that carries an emotionally unavailable.
Absolutely not.
You don't have to do any of that shit. You can just be like, oh, this nigga's emotionally unavailable. I love myself too much to be dealing with this nigga, or I like myself too much to be dealing with this nigga, or nigga, there's a lot of things I'd rather be dealing with. I'd rather deal with a nigga who ain't got no job than an emotionally available nigga. Like, you can pick your own poison as far as what you want to deal with. So I don't think that that's okay, and I think that growth is for each individual. Wise. And I cared enough to want to change, and I'm not saying that I'm completely changed, but I am definitely working on it in therapy.
Wow, that's excellent.
All right, so now that we got all that shit out of the way, let's talk about the aftermath of a breakup and what you should probably try, or what you guys have done in the aftermath of a breakup, and we'll end it with one little thing that we think that other people should do at the end of a breakup. So since I did all of the talking, or a lot of the talking, Tunde, I feel like you've always been like the silent third member for the last couple episodes. Nigga, we can get you to do some talking.
What should I do? Well, I mean, what to do after the breakup?
Yeah, so like
write a 20,000 word manifesto.
No, I wrote that shit. I wrote that like 6 years later after the breakup.
No, that's real. I mean, sometimes
And that's interesting too. The time. Sometimes sometimes you're over it, but you're not over. Like there's still like that anger can kind of come up or sadness or whatever, and it's crazy, man. How emotional like we are.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the breakup. Like, like it was a breakup like volatile, like the story I told of like it was just one big event that happened, and or was it just slowly, dragged to a standstill? If so, my last relationship before the relationship that I was in now, which I guess we kind of discussed on one of the episodes of the podcast. I think Van was still on the podcast then. I think with that relationship, like I was emotionally checked out of relationship at least 6 to 8 months before, relationship actually ended. So it wasn't like I didn't need any closure. First of all, let me say this. I don't think we discussed this. I've never been broken up with. So
you've never broken up with somebody?
I've never been broken up with. I've never been broken up with.
You always need to break up. You the initiator. You the heartbreaker.
Okay. No, I wouldn't say heartbreaker, but I can see the signs and I can look ahead and see where relationship is going, and I'm always gonna be like, why are we wasting our time? Okay. So like people have this idea of like, oh, I'm dating with a purpose. I don't see nothing wrong with that. I'm dating with purpose, and if we're not going towards marriage, then there's no point in dating. And I feel like sometimes that leads people to stay in situations longer than it needs to be. So that being said, going back to my last relationship, like I didn't need any closure. I didn't need any I didn't need to like sit down and brood or anything like that. I was ready to, to
get back out there.
To get back out there. And I did. So, and I dated for a while, and then, I eventually got with my current girlfriend, right? And that raised some eyebrows.
Yeah, it sure did.
A lot of people like, oh,
I remember some of the eyebrows that were raised.
A lot of people like, oh, so that's why he broke up with his ex, which is, completely, ludicrous. But yeah, I think it all depends. Like if you come to mutual agreement and like you're like me and you weren't emotionally invested into relationship towards the end of it, then just continue living your life. But if you're like still hung up on your ex and you feel like you moving on to the next person or start dating, if you're gonna bring that emotional baggage, then I think you should just pick a new hobby. I don't know, like
that's real.
Like learn how to knit.
Knitting. I do have a question though. So you said that you were checked out like 6 to 8 months before you guys actually broke up, right?
Yeah.
So how did you guys last another 6 to 8 months if you were already knowing that it was toward the end? Because I'm sure somebody's listening to this podcast and wondering the same thing.
We didn't. Like, we were just basically roommates.
And then y'all was just like, all right, well, we're not going to do this roommate shit no more. We're just going to break up.
No, we'll just wait till the end of the lease.
No.
But I mean, when
you said you were emotionally checked out of the relationships in 6 to 8 months, and then you guys broke up, or you broke up and then you were emotionally checked out. I'm just trying to figure out the timeline.
Oh, okay. Right. So, all right. So I'm combining the timelines together. So let's say I was emotionally checked out like 4 to 5 months before we broke up, and then we were roommates, and then the lease situation, and then we were just went our separate ways.
So when you were emotionally checked out from 4 to 5 months, was it the fact that y'all lived together that y'all didn't break up sooner, or?
Yeah. If we lived together, it would have been possibly that day.
Gotcha. Which, I mean, once y'all start living together, he's trying to keep the peace on them.
Yeah, and that's the first woman I've ever lived with.
Right.
So before that, I was just completely against, cohabitation before marriage, for that particular reason. Because things get complicated when you live with someone. Like you don't know somebody until you like actually live with them.
That's true. Lex, aftermath of breaking up.
I believe in the aftermath, it's important to recognize that you're going to have up and down feelings, regardless of how it ends. Things that I would recommend / that I've done that work for me and that I like are doing a lot of writing. Like just when you feel some kind of way, instead of reaching out to them, because a lot of times that's kind of either pointless or, it's just like, what is this going to change? What is this going to do? Right. I would just, jot things down instead of sending it to them, kind of like write an unsent letter, write out how I'm feeling, whether it's good or bad. Like I said, whether it's good or bad, I'm not trying to like hit him up just to roast him up, or I'm not trying to hit him with so much great stuff because, it might look like I'm trying to find a way back in or whatever else. But, when at that point that you really know, like, all right, you called it and this is not something you're going back to. I kind of agree with kind of cutting them off for a little while. I don't think you need to necessarily like block a person and do all that on social media unless it was, something super unhealthy, I've muted people or whatever because I just didn't want to see, like to see them might be some kind of crazy reminders or whatever. But when I did actually finally like unfollow a person, I was really, really like, you know what? That's because I had lost respect for that person. Not just with the breakup, but just overall. And it's like, I just don't want to be associated with them. But outside of that, I would say writing, reminding yourself, remembering who you are. I think a lot of times we're in bad situations and we stayed in them because we lost track of what's important to us. And that person became that thing, or trying to make this relationship work became that thing. We're miserable because we put too much thought and too much worry into what we hoped would happen, or into what we think might happen. And we kind of lose like what we cared about. So kind of getting back to like Tunde kind of alluded to your hobbies, learn some new hobbies. You know how you see on Instagram, everybody goes back to the gym all of a sudden, you care about your health. Like
that was me.
Yeah. But those things are important because I think it's good to like get a routine. It's good to hang out with friends, but it's also sometimes you just got to sit down and like soak a little bit, but you just got to bounce back out of it. It's really up and down. And I think it's kind of keeping busy, but not unhealthily, like hopefully productively busy, and making sure that you recognize how much you're caring about yourself all of a sudden. And as you start to talk to new people or date, the minute you start to see that decline or you see that changing with yourself, like I feel like that's how you kind of know like this is a bad sign, that I'm about to be in that same circle with somebody else. So for me, it's just a lot of focusing on the self, writing, and letting yourself process emotions better. And like G has been saying with therapy, when you have thoughts or when you have feelings, like process them. Like, this is what I'm thinking about. This is what's going on. Process it and let it out. Like, instead of just holding on to it and feeling that for days or weeks or whatever. It's hard though.
Yeah, it's good. And I think that last part that you said about it being hard, I think people, I feel like that's one of those things where you say it and you understand it, but you don't understand it for real until you go through it. Where you walk into it knowing this is going to be hard, but not fully understanding what it means for it to be hard.
Mm-hmm.
I know that after my last relationship, when we broke up, I was okay for like 3 months.
Mm-hmm. And then it can randomly hit you later.
And then randomly, like,
damn,
I started getting real, like everything just started feeling real weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like the music, you know what I'm saying? Music that we listen to, or, you know,
she was good times.
She was the first person I texted about everything, no matter what it was. So if I saw some new shoes, oh, hey, you know, blah, blah, whatever. Or if I heard a new song that I thought was dope, that I thought that she might like, or I know that she would like, oh, you know, this, that, and third, whatever. If I was out somewhere and I saw something funny and I wanted to take a picture or get a video, she was the first person I showed to. So I had to break the habit.
Yep. You gotta like talk to yourself kind of sometimes too. Like,
you really have to be like, don't do that.
Yeah.
To yourself. Don't do that.
Or I'll write it in a note on my thing instead of actually saying it. But even when it's like I was saying, even if it's not a bad thing, it's like, hey, you just gotta break that habit.
Yeah, it's not always a bad thing.
He understood you.
Yeah, it's not always a bad thing. The second thing, of course, which I've been saying before, is therapy. I realized that there were a lot of mistakes that I made in my last relationship that I didn't think were fully indicative of either the man that I thought I was or the man that I am trying to become. I'm somewhere in between, I guess. So I knew that it was going to be a while before I decided that I was going to before I was going to, I don't want to take up, that sounds weird, but before I got into my next relationship with a woman, whenever that might have been, because I don't have a timetable for that or anything, I knew that there were things that I wanted to work on for me. So my big thing was taking all of the energy that I had that I would expend on the relationship. And I don't mean that in a bad way, because when you're spending time with somebody and you're being there for them and you're being emotionally supportive and physically supportive, and you guys are working together and planning the future, like all that stuff or whatever, that other person becomes as intricate a part of your life as you are. And I don't like to say the 1+1 = 1 sort of situation. I don't really like that. I don't really like that shit, because I feel people in relationships are still two individual people. And a lot of times people sort of meld themselves in together and they get lost. Both people get lost into each other. Not that that's what happened with me, but what I'm saying is my big thing was putting energy back into me. Okay, what do I like to do by myself? What kind of things do I like to do with my day? What am I interested in? I took myself, I like movies. I took myself to see the Avengers by myself.
Oh man, that's a good one to see by yourself too.
That was the first movie and I've gone to them, and since I've like, I had a great time watching the Avengers by myself. Not that I wouldn't have had one with her, but she don't watch movies like that. She don't watch comic book movies like that, so she wouldn't have understood. And I didn't have nobody else to go with, so I was like, I'm not gonna wait until the shit comes out on DVD. I'm gonna go watch this shit myself. And I was in the movie theater, you know what I'm saying, talking to myself, cracking jokes to myself, laughing at shit, being real sad. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I should do this more often. So I've gone to see, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 movies this summer by myself. Just, hey, I want to go see The Equalizer 2 by myself. I want to see a couple of other movies, and I'm just gonna go. I don't feel weird about going to the movies by myself. The recliner seats are really nice. I go in there with sweatpants, and I take off my shoes and just put my socks on the thing, and I'll be in that bitch chilling like a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm at the crib, but I'm at the movie theaters. You know what I'm saying? I did a lot of working out, trying to get my health back together. Like I said, a lot of stuff, just, therapy was for the mental part of it. How am I reacting to this breakup? What are some things that I think I want to change? How am I going to do better in the future? What are some things that I need to work on? Physically, I went to the gym, I worked out, I ran, I ate better, I did stuff like that or whatever. So just all that energy that I used to have for somebody else, I just really reinvested it into myself. And I'm still reinvesting it into myself. And, some days it's physically hard. Like, I have to pick up the phone and put the phone down, because I was 4.5 years. That's the longest relationship that I've ever been in. 4.5 years. 4.5 years is a long fucking time. I got with her when I was 27. We broke up a month before my 32nd birthday. She was there for the prime of my 20s and in the early portion of my 30s, which were very, very pivotal. As a very, very pivotal time frame in my life in terms of professionally and going back to school and trying to figure out what I want to do for the rest of my life and purpose. She was there for all of that stuff. And it's weird that it was weird that she wasn't there anymore for any of that. So I had to learn to do it for myself. And, it's been a process. Not that, I'm celebrating the breakup or whatever like that. But if there was a time for us to break up and for me to re-find myself, this would probably be the best time, because we didn't get married, we didn't have kids, wasn't no assets. I'm not 40 and over the hill and trying to get back out there, no shit like that. Like, I'm 31. No, I'm 30. Ooh, I'm 32. Shit. Ooh, I don't even know all that anymore. I'm 32 now. So, like, this is a really good time. Like, I finally got my career situation together. I'm finally about to, really reestablish, my own independence. Shit is all right. I mean, it's hard, but it's all right. And I think that's the important thing too, is knowing that eventually shit will be okay.
You just need time, because you can look back at old relationships and very easily be like, wow, I'm so glad I didn't stick to that. And I'm very glad that even when you're in a long relationship, that we broke up, or that people break up, instead of, I have a lot of friends who they got married because they were supposed to, or that's what they felt like you know, they should do, or like that's an answer to your issues. And I know a lot of miserable people, man. And so I'm still just thankful that, like you said, I'm still putting myself first, and that it's hard dealing with breakups, but that's really not what's best for you in the long run.
You ain't gonna die. That's my phrase. You ain't gonna die, man. You ain't gonna die.
So you said that like you reinvested all that energy that you put into your relationship into yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So do you ever think, this is for like you too, Lexi, do you ever think like your ex is looking at you like, where was all that shit like when we were together?
No, I don't think my ex is sitting around thinking about me.
Or
and that's one thing as a woman too, we got to get over. I don't think they're thinking that, because I was never like dropped off or wild out here.
Let me rephrase it.
No, I know. No. I know what you mean, and I'm gonna answer your question. I don't think she sits around and feels as if, or I don't think she ever sat around and felt like, I wish you would have been doing this or we were together. Like, I wish you would have been going to the gym and like working on yourself or whatever. Because these are things that I was doing while we were together. Like, I was trying to get my professional situation together. I was working out when we were together.
Like, you weren't just a total bum.
Yeah, you weren't Lawrence out here. Yeah, I wasn't like, let's not talk about it.
Look, I almost said that too. I almost said that too.
Yeah, I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't that the breakup was a catalyst for me to go start living my life. I've been living my life for all the years that we've been together. Just things hadn't been going the way
to get better.
Yeah, I mean, shit just gets. I was juggling multiple jobs and doing that kind of shit when we were together. I don't have to do that anymore. So now I'm afforded a certain amount of time to start focusing on myself. And when you're with somebody, I feel like you have to work harder to focus on yourself. Because when you're in a relationship with somebody, you're always in a constant state of flux when it comes to what it is that you're going to be focusing on that particular day. What is it that I have to work on, and what is it that my relationship needs right this moment? And sometimes your relationship needs are going to win, and then sometimes you're going to win over your relationship. And I think that's one of the hardest things about being in a relationship is, how do I still get to be me and focus on me and re-energize myself while also taking into account that I am dealing with somebody else. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because those changes that you go through while you're working on yourself, the person that you're with is also subject to those changes as well. Mm-hmm. So it is just harder. I'm not saying it's impossible. It's just harder. Not that it can't be done, but it's harder. Yes, Lex, with both hands raised.
I know we've been talking for a while, but one thing I do want to ask you guys as well. You've broken up. How do you approach, or how do you feel about the idea that would we get back together one day? Like, do you think once you've broken up, there's nobody, like, you'd never be back with those people or with that person?
For me, 3 of my exes are married.
Is that why you're not trying again, or
no? I'm saying
even you gonna let them live their lives.
Even if I wanted to, like, I don't even talk to any of my exes. Like, I'm Facebook friends with 2 of them, but the rest of them, I don't follow on social media. I don't have their numbers. Like, I don't talk to them at all. I don't believe in backtracking. Mm-hmm. I believe you broke up for a reason, and they were in your life for a season. So get the fuck out of here. Like,
sometimes it takes a long time to get back to like we can be kind of cordial. Like, I might have been separated on social media from an ex for a long time, and then all of a sudden you're like, hey, what's up, dog? Like, you know, I could talk to you just regular. There's no extra emotions or feelings.
I mean, if I saw like any of my exes on the street was outside of one, like, I would say, hey, how you doing? And stuff. Like, seeing you, whatever. Mm-hmm. I mean, but that's also kind of hard too, because I live on the West Coast and all my exes live on the East Coast. So
you ain't even gotta worry about it.
Yeah, that's what I like, because I'll never run into any of my people unless I wanted to.
I don't know where any of my exes are. Well, actually, I know where. No, I actually know where all of
my married in Japan, dog. Like, please.
That's really weird. It's not impossible, and the only reason why I say it's not impossible is because, I have really dope exes.
Yeah, I like that.
They're dope women in and of themselves. Like, they're great. our relationship not working out is in no way an indictment of those women. And I also think that sometimes who you are at that particular point in a relationship is not who you are later on in life. Like who I am at 32
you gotta let people grow too.
Right. Who I am at 32 is not who I was at 22. So I wouldn't discount a relationship with somebody that I had when I was 22 because, you know, I was breaking up with women for all kinds of stupid ass reasons that didn't really have nothing to do with nothing, minus, you know, a few or whatever like that. So it really just depends on who the woman is or whatever. With my last ex, we were together for like 4.5 years, and I don't feel like I'm far away enough from that breakup to even really have like an opinion on the matter. Like I don't have anything against her as a woman. I respect everything that we went through in our relationship, and we fought some wars, not against each other, but just like how life was coming at us when we were together. So there's always a certain measure of respect and love there just because of all the things that we had been through together. But you know, I honestly don't know. I mean, the person that I'm transforming into might not be a person that she's even interested in dating, and the person that I'm transforming into, might not look at her the same way. Not necessarily that because she was a bad girlfriend or anything, but just because the things that I want are different. The type of relationship that I want is different. The parameters of what I believe a relationship should be are different. So, you know, sometimes it might have some, it might not, it doesn't have anything to do with her, just how I've changed since we've broken up, and that might not be compatible with who she is. So no, I don't think about
Those
it.
are good answers.
It's not out of the realm of possibility, but it's not something that I actively think about.
Okay.
All righty. So, well, that was a really good talk. Feels like
it was. I feel like I want to text my ex a little bit.
Don't.
Good luck with
We
that.
just talked about that.
I know.
No.
I really. It's weird. It's a weird balance.
You need to text me so we can get to this fly out that you was trying to give me earlier in the show. That's what we need to do.
That was a
Text me after
joke.
the show. I know that. Duh.
No, but you know what? So, but to say like I'm so attracted and I love the answers that you gave because I really love just seeing how people grow. I love people being self-aware, and man, I feel like that's something that has been missing in people that I've gone more than just talking to with. But now that, as I said, I'm thinking about the people who do have that, but I'm not interested in them for whatever other reasons. So I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. But I like what you said about like your exes, like you still love them and they're great people. Or maybe they're not. Maybe they had things, but maybe they grow. But at the same time, you're not sitting around waiting for it. You need to focus on yourself. I'm trying to just focus on myself and what the fuck I can do better with my life. So
that's all we try to do out here. So, episode 2, season 5, Negroes with a Podcast. We'll catch y'all next week. Peace.
Peace.